I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll call to order the meeting at 6:31. Mr. Dunbar, if you do a roll call for me, please.
Yes, sir. Tom Ahern,
Here.
Ken Dunbar, here. Mark Garber,
Here.
John Locke, absent. Ken Riley,
Here.
John Terrace,
I'm here.
Steve Weaver,
Here.
Kurt Martyr, absent. Bart Dunsmore, absent.
Motion to approve the roll call.
I don't think we need a motion.
Don't need it?
No.
I'll make a motion to excuse the absences.
Okay, then I'll second the motion. I'm sorry, that's what I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
Hey, I've only been awake for an hour.
We're not gonna beat you up now.
All right, motion carried on that. All right, adoption or amendment of the agenda. Is anything on the agenda? The only thing,
We,
go ahead.
we should amend it for bullet point D for approval of meeting minutes from January 10th, 2024 instead of December
December
29th.
20th. That's what I was going to.
Hey,
Hey, Kurt?
I also have a.
Caught church getting down, I couldn't get out of my driveway.
I know I drove by real slow. Alright, so changing the bullet point of D, approval of minutes from December 29th, change it to January 10th.
Steve also has a motion for the agenda.
Okay,
Ready?
yes, sir.
Yeah, I wanted to amend under new business. We'll make it number 2 on there. I gotta brief y'all on the sidewalk installation for the new homes on Pratt. It's a Memphis Metals project that's going on. It's an issue on placement for the sidewalks due to the existing ditch, and I'll detail it when we get there.
Okay, any other amendments?
How did you summarize that, Steve? Just a briefing of sidewalk?
Shorter seeing these brief on sidewalk installation. Memphis Metals project. I got all this stuff written out, I have a lot to say, and I'll give you a copy of it, so you don't have to get crazy taking those on whatever I'm gonna
I
talk
appreciate
about.
that.
Yeah, it's be a little overwhelming on everywhere else.
Yeah, Mr. Dunbar uses a lot of ink in the meetings. Okay, anything else in regards to the agenda? Nothing, okay, can we get a motion to approve the amendment?
Support.
Okay, I get a second?
Support me.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion carried. All right, January 10th, meeting minutes. I'm gonna breeze over those, see if there's anything in there.
It looked good to me.
Anybody have any
Yeah, I'm
questions?
good with it.
Go with it. Aren't you making a motion to,
I'll second.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion carried on the meeting minutes from January 10th. Cool. Alright, citizens, we have some people here today, so we give them a couple minutes.
Yeah, we have Kevin, who is, Kevin's right now, Keith. Kevin.
First time through.
Kevin?
I'm getting there.
Oh, folks, yeah.
Kevin is the plan commissioner in Wales Township. We wanted to give just a brief talk on an issue that's important to us. She signed up to speak, so go ahead, Kevin, the podium, if you would step over to the podium.
I'd be happy to do that, yeah. Okay. I can stand right here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so my name's Kevin Glass. Brief background. grew up in Roseville, Macomb County, raised our family in St. Clair County, St. Clair Shores for 30 years, and then we built a home office up in Wales off of Hill Road, so now it's St. Clair County. And without getting into too much details, about a year and a half ago, I wasn't into politics. I hung up all my plaques for being an engineer and all that good stuff as a machinist, and knock on my door, says, you know, they're putting up solar things, and I said, on people's homes? I think so. It ended up being, we discovered 14 leases were signed in Wales Township over a period of 2 or 3 years with gag orders. And we all have this information with the township. So once we saw that, I became interested and I got back into politics immediately. And again, I'm the chairman of the Planning Commission and I'm on the ZBA. So in the last year and a half, we've went through all of the information that's come on board. Well, we haven't even been approached with a application yet at this point. We know the company is Next Era from California wanting to put in, if you can imagine, the end of your driveway on a house you just built with your office, 900 acres surrounding all your neighbors' homes. South as far as we can go. We'd be on the tail end of these things for almost 3 miles all through Wales Township.
In one location.
Yep. Well, this is what they want to do in Wales. They're trying others, but so far our ordinances were the strongest at this point. So they never approached us and we were wondering what's going on. It's been 8 months, we heard all this. We filled a hall up with 600 people with speakers to say, this is serious. We can't have this. I mean, people were just very passionate about we can't have, how's this going to happen? So they expected the township to come up with an answer out of all that. So we had that meeting, and a short time later, we were wondering what was going on with nobody approaching us. And as of last June, the effort went through the governor, and she brought in these people from renewable energy sources to say, we'd really like to be the leader of all the states on renewable energy. Solar, wind, and whatever we want to do after that. So what's the problem? Well, we're approaching all these rural townships, and their ordinances are not going to let us put it where we want it. Well, where do you want it? Agricultural land. And there's some farmers, like I said, 14 out of the hundreds in Wales Township that signed these leases, gag orders, and said, yeah, this is what we want to do. Nobody wants to farm, but doesn't meet any of our ordinances or the master plan. We want to keep it rural. So the governor, and this is all documented, said, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to give them a chance, but you're going to come up with what you want to see on a menu of items so you can put your solar facilities where you want. So all of our eyes opened up. So that's why they're not applying yet, because they think this is going to go through. Well, in September, 2 bills were passed on partisan lines in Lansing. Everything the solar companies wanted is on there. Instead of 300-foot setbacks and no agricultural land, they can put it wherever they want, 50-foot setbacks, and that's just one of many things. We can do it if you let us do this. So the governor said, well, I'm going to appoint 3 Michigan Public Service Commission people, appoint them, to follow what's going on in these townships where you want to put your solar and your wind turbines. And we're going to implement that. We'll put it into law if we can pass it. Well, the 2 bills were passed on party lines, September, I believe. I have all the numbers of the bills if you want to approach that. So immediately, a site went up saying Citizens for Local Choice to fight this and to get everybody in these townships across Michigan involved to educate them on what's going on here. Because if they start with that and we don't fight it, landfills, migrant housing, I could just sit here and go on and on. But since solar is affecting me personally, there's like 10 things that are terrible about it. I won't get into it, I won't take a lot of your time up, but it's important for all of us to really be passionate about what it does to us. So we came up with a reasonable way to address it by trying to get it on a ballot so people can vote. You want your local township officials to decide what's best for your communities, or do you want the state to dictate where we're going to put things like this and how we're going to do it? You really got to think about what that could mean for all of us up here north of Detroit. So in any case, I went to the meeting last night on Quad Road at a place called Milk House. We met there and we need 500,000 signatures, 500,000 by May, to put it on the November ballot. And I should back up and tell you that when the governor did this, she did it in such a way where it couldn't be on a ballot the way she did it, unless enough signatures are made to force them to put it on a ballot so we can decide. It's a pretty steep hill to climb. So today was my first day out with petitions that strictly say it's all about choice. If we can get it on a ballot, at least we can choose and hope enough people will say, yeah, this is what we want to do, and vote that part of the bill down. So then we have it back to our old local commissions, planning commissions, master plan, which is important because that's why we have ordinances, right? To dictate where they're gonna put these and where they're not, and how they're gonna put them if we do agree to it. So we have to get this, in my opinion, passed. If we don't get it by May, it won't be on the November ballot. In November is when this law takes effect, these two laws. So it's not much time, on purpose, of course. The good news is there's enough people. I'll give you an example. I stopped in Richmond first. How can I get the most signatures that I can or assign people to do them?
I can help you.
Thank you. So as soon as I walked in there, the supervisor said it's normally $100 to go house door to door. So we're going to waive that. Where do I sign? So I mean, it's important that we all decide if we want the state to run everything in our townships or not. I don't know how else to put that. I think it's important enough for you all to understand the reason I came here. I have petitions if you'd like to sign them, or as things go along, I'll leave my number with Steve. And if you think you need more, that's fine. I mean, this is so timely that by February 23rd, I have to hand in anything I have to at least give him an idea of how fast this is going. No.
That's
And
the whole plan, it seems like.
yeah.
By design.
It's by
So-
design, yeah.
Yeah, so, and the UP is 99.9% against all of this, for obvious reasons up there. You leave us alone, we wanna do what we wanna do. And I think the same is that here, as far as who's gonna make decisions for all of us, in my opinion. So, we're trying to get these signatures, these petitions signed, and then, so they posted on the board last night the different things that are happening in the future that we might wanna go to get petitions signed. In fact, President Trump's gonna be a thing in Oakland County, and I said, if anybody knows him better than I do, maybe you could get him to ask us to sign these petitions. And I'm thinking of anything we can do. So it's a pretty big effort, but I think it needs to be done in a hurry. So it's that important. I hope everybody can understand. I mean, if they want the state to decide, that's one thing, but I really don't think people want that. So any questions? I
Do
can
you have
answer.
the petition,
Yeah, do you have the petition?
petition language is,
I do today, but earlier when I went around, everybody asked me, and I'm getting new to this, but I'll learn fast. I have them with me today, yes.
I just wondered,
If you'd like to
don't
see
you
what-
have to have that, doesn't the petition language have to be approved by the state or something?
It's already been done, thank
Yeah,
you for that.
Okay, that's what.
We had to redo it once
Okay,
to get it specific.
okay.
And it's all been done, it's approved, or I wouldn't be standing here
Right,
starting my
okay,
trek
okay.
across the country.
So this will, I mean, didn't Fort Gratiot Township just turn down, they just went through that 700 acres of solar?
Yeah,
But so they would be affected just like Wales would be.
all of them.
Statewide.
Everybody.
Statewide.
Statewide.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
look pretty.
It's
Yeah.
every township.
Override all local
Yeah.
ordinance.
So buy all the farmland, buy everything, oh.
Yeah, just
This
since you
can't
mentioned
happen.
Fort Gratiot, if I may, when I was allowed to speak, I looked at all 6 of the commissioners, I said, I was at the training session, you were at St. Clair Township 3 days ago. And if you remember, I asked the question, if a petition is being voted on, can it be approved for the simple reason to make money for somebody? And the attorney, the planner, professional planner said, absolutely not, that petition should not have even made it this far. So I reminded them of that, and they voted it down. But just the fact we're sitting here talking about this, I thought we were past these times, but we could be going back 150 years to somebody taking over, and I just hate to say
Russ
it.
never sleeps.
No, and a lot of us have people that fought for the right.
Right.
So,
Kevin,
Yes, ma'am.
If, I can help you get signatures.
Yeah?
Yep, here's my
Perfect.
contact info.
Okay.
You
we'll
want to
get
get hold
that.
of me?
Excuse me.
I can help.
Yeah, sure.
So they're able to be signed tonight, what you have?
Yeah, I decided to skip dinner and just, I'm gonna be here till you're done. Yeah.
Bring it in here. I'll sign
Finish
it.
your meeting and I'll wait around if that's all right.
I'll sign.
How are, I got a question, I'm sorry.
Please do.
How are you gonna get 500,000 signatures?
There were captains, that's a good question. We did it a smart way, and that is to get the commissioner, Jeff Pemberton, is Port Huron's city council. He addressed this at the meeting last night, and he says, we're gonna appoint county captains, co-county captains who spoke last night, that are addressing those issues, to assign groups or individuals, and then we're gonna report back as the best way to get these petitions signed. Like I'll report in tomorrow, hey, I'm doing this with Richmond and Memphis without going door to door. Maybe we can do it this way. What's the quickest way to get it? So,
I can help as well, if you'd like.
perfect. The important thing is that they did say, if you're gonna get people to help, and I'm that kind of guy, I had my own business for many years, is I like to point things to people, but I like to just make sure everything's done, because if it's not done right,
Straighten
cross
stuff
it
and
off.
put stuff on the ballot.
Yeah. And another thing I learned, it's important, all these petitions we sign for various things in our lifetime, I didn't know this, but when the canvassers go over those, they don't look at every one of those. They do sampling. And the example was brought up, here's one. I don't think he's in this county, let's look. They take another sample, here's another one. And after a while, they say, 25% are bad, we're gonna cross out, if that's not a good word, but we're gonna deny 25% of these applications or these petitions. So it's so important they're filled out right. In one section, there's a place for the date that you're filling out. So many people write their birth date by accident. So things like that, it's pretty simple, but it's still things that mistakes are made, so yeah, I'd appreciate that.
So are your petitions county specific?
Yes, good question there.
It's just for St. Clair and Macomb County?
Any county in Michigan, I might go to Oakland County for
Okay,
this Trump thing.
because you
and I'm
made a
gonna do
comment that they're not from the county, a certain county or wherever.
When you start a sheet,
Correct.
each sheet has to be per county.
Just per
Correct.
county, got it, okay.
Very important, yes.
Mhm. And is there an option to set that up on the web
No.
for people to do the petition? No?
You have to have them signed, you can't copy the petition and then send it to somebody else, it has to be that petition. Now you can, if you really trust that the person that's gonna take them to fill it out exactly right, that's great for their health.
Mhm.
It's just gotta be done right,
Mhm.
for all the reasons I just explained, so.
What did you say the deadline was?
May, I don't know the date. But again, they're gonna take a pulse February 23rd, and again, there's another date, March. Another pulse will be taken, and then the final will be May when we hand them in, so. Yep, it's pretty aggressive, I understand that, but it's important. And it's probably for a reason that we have to do this like the way it is, because somebody wants it done in state, and I can't believe 4 people decide what we're gonna do. It's hard to believe.
Bazillions of dollars out there for all these
Oh,
energy companies, and that's a good way of passing out.
yes,
money.
sir. So I got a letter today. I'm a Facebook guy sometimes, but then I get in trouble, so I stay off it. So, there's a letter from DTE that people are starting to receive. This one was Sand Lake County saying, so,
I seen that.
yeah, I brought it with me, that says, we're about ready to make sure your leaders of your townships understand the new laws that are already in effect, completely ignoring what we're trying to do on a ballot initiative. And that means that as we send projects to you to approve, you need to have your ordinances, if it's a mirror image of what the state's pretty much dictating, we should be able to work things out. If it's not, they don't tell you what they're gonna do. But what I'm afraid of is, in our rural counties, we like how we live and where we live. And I have other people whisper in my ear, they're never gonna make it down this road. And I hate to say that, if it's on a record, I don't care, but I don't think she knows what's gonna happen here. There are too many people that are, I had 150-year-old century people up there with their parents, 89 years old, going, what? It's gonna be surrounded with, solar panels, really, and the wind turbines?
Has there been any discussion among the people that you're working with about if it doesn't work out, that somebody could try to get an injunction against that law going into effect in November?
It's been talked about on a sideline, besides these ballot initiatives. I think the price was 7 to 10 million, maybe.
To
To
challenge it
fight
more?
it, legalize, to challenge things, because it's been shown that it's against Michigan's constitution and what they're doing. The governor herself said before all this a year and a half ago, we can't take away the local people's right to control their destiny. It's a quote kind of like that, and then she turned around. So I hope that answers your question. Yeah, it's not over, even if we get the ballot, and we
Right.
still gotta hope it passes.
Right.
But people need to understand, if we're gonna do these, you're gonna get questions like, well, I like solar, great. If you want windmills in every yard and solar panels and that's fine, but don't you think your local people should decide where they're gonna put them? That's important, so we're not stepping on anybody's ideas.
It's everything, yeah.
Yeah, and the next is gonna be landfills and all the other good things that could happen if it starts here. And you know what they call that in other countries, but I'll leave that alone.
Well, good luck.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate you giving me the time to talk.
You're welcome.
I'll wait around.
Thanks for bringing that to our attention.
Oh, you're welcome.
Much appreciated.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll keep the drum here, a lot of people on the same page, we like our.
Like that, that's why I moved here.
Yeah.
Two.
Small deal.
20 years now I've been here, I just can't believe it.
I'll make sure I exchange phone numbers with you too.
Yeah,
before-
please, Steve.
Before we leave.
Will do, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, we have a couple other citizens here that have time to speak.
Yeah, did either of businesses wish to speak? And both of these people, by the way, are operating businesses. They
Oh.
operate the dispensaries in town, so they get a lot of traffic.
Oh, great, great.
That's where I'll get your signatures.
More the better, yes.
I have,
Thank you.
we're definitely open to that. We can ask well, we get a lot of customers now, we know we're getting a little bit busier and busier, so,
Oh, good.
we can ask them if they wanna, sign a petition. I'm sure they probably would, why not? I wouldn't want a windmill in my yard. And then, actually, a good buddy of mine, he owns a liquor store down in Richmond.
Mm-hmm,
He's actually my best friend, so I can have him jump on board as well.
that'd be perfect, yeah.
He's pretty
Got the word?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Excellent.
and Steve's gonna have my information, so if somebody comes up, here's a great chance for Kevin or whoever he picked as a co-captain to, I'll go out there and we'll figure out a way to get the petition signed, so, thank you, appreciate it.
Anybody else? That's it?
Everybody else want to speak before we get into the meat of this stuff?
Well, we've got
They're
communications.
waiting for you guys.
Yeah, not to cut you, either of you wish to speak, you know, free to
Yeah,
speak.
the floor's open for a couple minutes.
But we'll be getting
They
there.
were here to hear what you had to
Okay.
say, right?
Well, it's been brought up, that's why I invited them.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
We want to hear what you have to say.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want you in any way, shape, form, think we're being shut down.
You know, I had just got in on the tail end of this, I had surgery, so I've been out of it, that's why I'm running a couple minutes late, I closed off, I apologize. But, my understanding was it was the flags in the streets that.
Yeah, that's what we're
is the issue.
discussing on
Okay.
M19.
Is it time to talk now, or is, when you guys open the meeting?
Well, we'll be discussing it, but if you'd like to speak about it, I would do it during comments. You know, for citizen comments, you can officially do it
They
then.
don't really know what you guys have to say.
Yeah, we'll wait until you get ready to go.
I'll speak when I'm spoken to.
Oh, you sound like
I'm just trying to tell you how the procedure works.
Yeah,
Usually,
no.
if you have any issue, I'm not trying to force you to do it.
No,
Okay,
just give me a hard time, I'm good with it.
Okay, so moving
Nice to
along.
meet you guys, by the way. My name's Aus.
Outs?
Aus, yeah, I'm the manager at Joyology.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, so with regards to communications, I have this graph that was passed down from Eric Snyder. So I don't know if, Kent, you want to give this to, you want
Sorry, I only had one copy of it for you, so I know, I noticed
Pass
in
it down and
the
read
past
it.
couple meetings that we had, the median household value was mentioned due to the businesses that we have now. So this is just a graph that I got from a realtor's site about what the actual values of houses are in Memphis right now to the end of '23. And you can see it's a big difference in the past 2 years, so I don't think it's been affected negatively.
78.5% to be exact.
That's all I have.
It's properly open.
creeping up to 300K, and that's about what these new houses are coming in at, maybe a little below that, I'm not sure. They might be at that.
Yeah, my property.
Yeah, that's what's driving,
unhappy.
that's what's driving it for sure, is all the new houses.
Awesome.
I make a motion, we enter that into communications with the current record, how we do that?
All right, we got a second on the motion? Send in the communication?
I'll second it.
Okay, Mr. Schlock second it. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? All right, motion carried. Go ahead and enter that in, Mr. Nandor. I got two others. Is this yours, Steve, with the land usage and the zone?
Oh, that's coming later.
That's later?
Yeah, it's just for your information.
Just FYI, okay. Well, I saw it in there, that's why I was asking. All right, anything else besides that? Moving on to new business, reviewing the, section 150.006 of the Memphis Code of Ordinance. And that is in regards to signs.
I could just give you a quick brief from the council.
Okay, yeah, you just want to run that through?
We just had a kind of informal chat on that, and there's not a whole lot in our code book. I got a couple pages there, pretty much covers it. So, you know, you can read that out. It's not real absolute crystal clear at all. So we discussed it and pretty much put it to the side for right now. So they've heard this, and I wanted you to be aware of it also. And because it originated here, we started talking about it whenever, a month before last. And so just following through on the conversation. So that's where we're at. You guys can see the same thing I gave to the council, and now it's back in your report, Mr. Chairman.
All right. So I have these guys, I guess have them review it and.
So this is all in regards to what we brought up about the flags that we have along the roadway. The dispensaries have them there, the local tavern has it, later in the year we'll have it at the ice cream shop. I think across the road at the movable feast, they put them out there, it says whatever states on the sign. And it's all about, you know, should or should it not be there? So, you know, if you look into our ordinance in 150.006 B, no sign except those established and maintained by the city, county, state, or federal government shall be located and projected into the overhang of public right-of-way or dedicated public easement. I don't think any of those per se go into the public easement. I mean, you know, unless you want to talk about sidewalk and where you're at on the boulevard. So, to me, it's kind of gray. And if you dig deeper into it and under H, accessory ground signs may be located in the front yard except as otherwise provided herein.
There's no front yard on it.
No, I mean, they're all basically in the easement between the building and the roadway. You know, so it's like, per se, I want to use the term boulevard, if you want to call it that, if you had a sidewalk going along, or you don't have a sidewalk. You know, with the dispensary, they have them set back off of the roadway. And, you know, to me, this is getting into it, you know, where do you call it? You know, point of intersection. And I think that the state would be the one more dictating the location of these signs in regards to, you know, the roadway.
Since it's being on M19, it's a state road.
Well, this is a dedicated public easement, so those banners being almost on the road, isn't that considered the easement? That property is not owned by those businesses, is it?
Yes,
Where
yes,
the
it is.
flags are
We
now?
own to the center of the road.
They own to the center of the road, just as anybody else that's on the road, you own to the center of the road.
It's a right of way. You own it, but it's a right of way.
There's just a setback in how far you can build a building in any road right
But
away
it
and stuff like
says
that.
no sign shall be located in the public right of way or dedicated public easement.
that would mean that there's not supposed to be any signs.
Correct.
Anywhere on Main Street.
That's what I'm reading.
That's the gray area there, because we own that grass out there. So when I had to replace the sidewalk, did the city pay for it? I did. Okay, I paid for all the improvements out there, when we built that facility out there. So if that's true, why didn't MDOT or the city come and fix that sidewalk? I even took the driveway out to make it easier access for the community there, so no one would use that driveway. We shut it down for that purpose. And we paid for all that to be done too, the new curb, new gutter. MDOT didn't pay for that, and Memphis didn't pay for that. We did that out of the kindness of our heart. You know, we just didn't want to have that problem
You
there.
did that of your own volition.
Because I wanted to make it a better
Does
place.
anybody, do you ever come from the north into town?
Yes, I own a
And
country
see those
smokehouse in
flags
Omaha.
waving,
Yeah.
and it looks like a circus when you come into Memphis. It's embarrassing.
Right, this is our town where we live, you don't live here.
That, I do.
I live in Elmont, and I own the
Okay.
grocery store in K-Pac.
Yeah.
I sat on the board
I
in
totally
Elmont.
understand that, but we're talking about aesthetics here. People know your facility's there, right? There's a sign on your building, and do they know your hours?
What did
I mean,
that building
really,
look like before we bought it?
How much does it do for your building?
Can I
for
say,
your
I
business
work
to have
there,
flag
and
out?
so many people ask us to put a lot more signs up so they can notice us, because they don't.
Can I grab a photo for one to comment on this too?
Well, put
Alright.
one on the roof or something.
I'm Steve, it would look worse. I'm Steve Francis, I own a country smokehouse in Elmont, partner in property for a grocery store in K-Pac. I sat in your chair for 19 years as a chairman in Elmont. I sat in the zoning board of appeals. I'm very knowledgeable what you go through, the harassment you get. Every night at the end of the meeting, somebody loves you and somebody hates you. But what we gotta remember is, what do we do to these people? I'll give you a great example. One lady comes up to me and she says, I don't like the way this guy's business looks. It's deplorable. I don't like the look. So I get the ordinance out and I cite her. I said, well, you know what's funny, Mrs. Wilcox? You've got a manure spreader in your front yard and the broken wheels on it. And the flowers are growing in this manure spreader. On the side of it, it says John Deere on it. You're advertising for John Deere. That's against our sign ordinance. And that's a blight because you got a broken thing in your yard. What we think somebody likes, and I get it, I believe. When I first came to this company, mark my words wrong, Eric will tell you, and so will he. I didn't want to see flashing lights. I didn't want to see all this crazy stuff. We built a beautiful building there. And we cleaned up that whole lot the best we could, paved the parking lot, did everything with the city we could, and we wanted to make it a nice place, and it is. If we're gonna take flags down, I feel you want them gone, I don't have a problem with that. But every business in this town needs to get rid of their flags, not just us. We got out there.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, so if you're gonna take for one, it's gotta be for all. Consistency is everything, but we were told that they were specifically targeting the dispensaries, that's the main reason why it's dangerous. Was
I
because
don't know.
It's all
Who told you
business.
that? I don't know.
it's irrelevant, small towns, everybody talks,
All right.
and that's why we're here,
Well,
to put
it's
it to
all
rest.
irrelevant.
Right.
The only thing that's relevant is those flags flipping around all in the breeze. And
I'm sorry, I actually told them that you guys were talking about the flags at the dispensary, and that's how I took it at either the last planning commission meeting or the one before, maybe I misspoke.
That's how the discussion went, and the discussion was based on the fact that it says dispensary on 4 signs when you come in from the north end of town. If they said open for business, you know, would this discussion be happening? I have no idea. I think the objection that I've been hearing is based on what is said on the sign.
well, we can't. I mean, we can't ask. We can't
No, absolutely.
ask the dispensaries to remove
Absolutely,
theirs
if we're
and
gonna
then let the
enforce this,
doghouse leave theirs.
if
No,
we're gonna
absolutely
enforce this,
not.
we have to
We're gonna have
enforce it.
people have
across
to
the
follow
board.
the law,
It's
one
all
way or
or
another.
nothing.
Yeah, all or
It's
none.
all or nothing.
Do you want us to change the signs, instead of they saying dispensary, they say open now, or just have a green cross?
Ours
Or
doesn't
do you
have
want me to
a
just
green
take it
cross
down?
on one.
No, yeah.
We have one that says green cross, has a
That's a
green
green
cross.
cross.
That's it.
I don't think it's what it says, I just think if we gotta go against our, those are our rules. The rules state that there can't be in the right of way.
Right. To me,
So either we
that's-
gotta change the rules,
That's really the question.
Yes.
Right.
It's not
That's-
messaging.
So then if I put it in my lot next door, because I own that whole lot all the way back to the bus garage, that wouldn't be a problem?
No, technically, I
So,
don't think it
so
would.
then you would rather I go over there and put them on, 2 of them on the lot here and down the street on Boardman Road? You gotta be careful what you wish for, because I've been down this road many times too, and sometimes it bites us in the ass.
That's
We're
why
trying to fix a problem and it
talking
creates a
about it now.
problem.
We don't wanna make enemies, we're just.
No, and I don't either,
talking about it now.
I don't either.
We got a room like 300 feet, we could put a million of them up there.
Oh,
And
wait.
the goal for everybody here
Oh, yeah.
is to improve the town, right? We
I like
didn't,
I like the idea of the green cross. I've seen those because I travel all over southeast Michigan, and dispensaries are everywhere. And That's how you can determine them. You see the green cross, boom, there's a line and it's a nice organized line.
I mean, we have a big investment there as well as the homeowners here too. So we want this town to do well, and we don't want people pulling up and make it look like 8 Mile. That's why we try to do our house, our
Well,
dispensary,
Point exactly, you
subdue.
don't want it looking like 8 Mile.
I grew up there, so
And our
I
town is
know the area.
going down that path. And we just wanna make sure that we keep it looking like the quaint farming community that I moved into 20 years ago, right? I've got a 24-year investment here, and I wanna make sure that it continues to look as it should, appealing aesthetically.
Sure.
And I want my own value to continue to go up, right?
So if
That's
we're
all,
gonna.
all we're looking for.
Yeah, we want the same goal. We want the
The
same
only-
thing, but like Steve
well-
said, you gotta watch. Because if you dictate, you can put it inside your fence, you can put 20
That's why I just like to just
flags
move it
right down
from-
the side of his fence there.
Oh, yeah.
From one side onto the other side, it's just
Totally
2 feet.
understand.
And
So
then-
that would be acceptable.
Yeah,
In your
it would be in, not in the road.
No,
next
we
one.
just gotta sort out what's gonna work
That's the
out
last
for
thing
all
we
of
wanna
us,
see
right?
too.
But I'm not saying I would do that, I don't wanna do that, I just wanna solve the issue so we don't have any problems.
Right, Kurt, go ahead.
So if we're gonna look at it enforcing this, okay, again, it would be anybody with a flag in the right of way. And if you read into this again, no sign, except those maintained by the city, state, or federal government shall be located in or project into or overhang the public right of way. So that would take, businesses in town that have established as signs that have been there for as long as I can remember that overhang the sidewalk, would have to go.
There is one store, or one shop on downtown that has a big horn and it has a flag that's, so I can walk right under it. I don't know which business it is, it's one of the.
Exactly, that's
businesses
what I'm
downtown.
saying is, you know, if you look at the attorney's office, he has a sign that projects over the sidewalk. It's been there since I've been in town.
When I brought this issue in front of the commission 2 months ago, I did not intend for it to be this rabbit hole. My sole intention was really just to make sure that we as a city could not be found liable for any sort of accidents or
You know, wind blowing into somebody as they're walking down and getting
winds,
tripped.
yeah, the sign falls, not that that's likely, but I think as a city we need to review this strictly from a liability standpoint, because we can't police what they put on their signs or what the signs look like,
Right.
but we,
But we can police the signs in general.
as long as it is.
Well, it's the thing is let's go back to, we're gonna enforce it, or we're not gonna enforce it. And it can't be based on what is on the sign unless, you know, and what somebody finds offensive or doesn't find offensive.
Right.
You know, it's, if somebody if they put a sign out in front of the bar and somebody's offended by the fact that it says bar or tavern, well, we can't have that. But you know, hey, I don't like attorneys, so they shouldn't have a sign out there.
Right.
Right.
So you can't pick and choose by that.
It's just
You have to,
distracting.
you have to decide whether you're gonna enforce the ordinance all the way or not. You can't depict what you want to
Can't
say
pick
in the
and choose, you're
sign.
bad. You can't pick
You
and
know, I
choose.
know that people are offended by the fact that it says dispensary. I don't think that we probably would be talking about this right now if it just said, now open for business, period.
I don't know if that's true.
I beg to differ.
Okay, so you're offended when the ice cream shop puts out a sign that says open. And the tavern when it
If it
says
was a
open.
12-foot waving flag, flapping sign, yes, I would.
There's one in front of the bar probably today as we speak.
I know.
Yeah.
I think the difference is there,
I know.
because of where those signs
It's
are,
where
there's
the-
no,
right.
there's no parking, so it's not like it's against where a parked car is, it's right along the edge of the road.
It's
So
way
it's,
more
it catches
visible.
your eye when you're
Right.
driving like it's supposed to do. That's what it's supposed to do. But it
It's-
also is,
right.
it's cause there's no break.
It's way more.
I get what you're saying,
It's
I
way more
understand what you're
visible.
saying.
You don't-
It's not like
don't-
it, and this is the thing, is our rule says that, so you either gotta enforce all the rule, or
Well,
we have
right.
to change our rule. I mean,
So, is it possible instead of them being on the ground, if they put a sign off the side of the building? I know that's one of the points you're making, Kurt, is that the other people have a sign on the top of the building overhanging.
We
Would
got-
that
like
be
you said,
a
that-
better option, so it's off of the
The
ground?
problem is, you're only gonna hurt. If you pass that law, that's not gonna hurt us, we got the property to move it. It's not gonna hurt us one lick. Who it's gonna hurt is the bar, because he won't be able to put up any flag at all, cause.
Or the ice cream shop.
Or it's, the ice cream shop, you're gonna
Fire.
people that are gonna get punished are the people that have no horse in this race. Because just by the position of their building, they can't make a difference. If you tell us, hey, put them signs back along the edge of the property on the other side, cause we own it all, that's what you want, no problem. We wanna work with all you guys. But then the people that don't have that property, they're gonna get hammered. All them little business, the caterers, the fireworks guy, all of them guys, none of them have a spot.
Yeah,
to
like Movable,
put
like
us.
I said,
So-
Movable Feast puts out a sign and tells you what the specials are every day, and they technically can't do that if they're
Correct.
enforcing that rule.
Right.
End up
It's
hurting
just-
the people you're trying to
Then
protect.
they can't, because it's a violation, and it clutters the streets, and it could cause tripping, and let's clean this town up, it's just starting to look
My opinion is,
like
I
not the
don't care
town I
about the
moved
sign
into.
that's selling sandwiches. God bless them, you gotta do what you gotta do to make a living, and them are the guys that are gonna get hurt. My opinion.
I mean, to me, I didn't think it was what the sign said, but I thought our discussion, maybe I misunderstood it
That
last
was the
time.
beginning of the discussion, is what I recall, so.
Hey, just so you know, you might wanna let Tammy know, because I know she's just in the process of buying a brand new sign. to go
To
in front of her
project out
building.
over the sidewalk.
Yeah, just so you know.
You know,
Well,
She asked me about it.
Kinda equal to what the attorney has out in front, so.
But is there a difference between a banner flying in the ground 12 feet
Well,
in the air,
this is-
or,
it's right here.
or an attached to the building sign?
Project into or overhang a public right-of-way in a dedicated public easement.
Right,
Is the
well, maybe that
public right
needs to
of
be
way 3
revisited, I
inches
guess.
sticking out from the?
Well, I tell you what, you got more of a
wall?
chance of the attorney's sign falling down off of its wires into the sidewalk than a flag on a fiberglass pole hurting you.
There's also in
my
your
thought.
sign, if you read the state sign orders, I'm very involved, I also own another company, Mid-Michigan Excavating, and I know about right-of-ways and setbacks. Most intersections of most businesses has a cross-section. When you pull out of that business, you're supposed to be able to see certain distance in here. There's a measurable from the center line in, from the center line to here. There's nothing there. Boardman Road on both sides, and this road here, it doesn't block anybody's vision. It's not obstructing anybody's vision. So when you look at the MDOT code law, when you do something like that, they're gonna come out, run a tape from this, your setback to this, and you can do this. Van Lake is 50 feet off the highway. The problem with Memphis is
And that's-
the community was built too close to the roadway, because it used to be a 2-horse path
Yeah.
through for cattle.
Right.
And we're just trying to deal with our forefathers have given us all here.
Again, that's at next level. State level, yeah, they got a formula for that.
Right, but I'm saying, you guys, we would
still
still follow that formula. Our place would, their.
Is there
place-
something permanent versus temporary? Cause those,
Your court.
to me, those banners are more of a temporary sign than they are a permanent sign.
Other
Well, if we
municipalities
enforce,
have,
if we enforce, if we
other
enforce this
municipalities have
ordinance,
specific signs.
it's
for
got,
it.
it's gonna go right down the street, everybody, it's gonna be every
Yes.
business.
bolted to
On top,
buildings, gonna
every
come
single
down.
business, everything has to come down, if we enforce it the way it is written.
If it's enforced, it needs to be revisited and modified. because we
Exactly,
can't
if we're
do
gonna
that
enforce
nowadays.
this, what I suggest is that, we discuss it further and rewrite it or adjust it for the current times.
Yeah,
I mean,
How
what,
about getting a handle on what the exact state law dictates too?
yeah, that also,
Change
finding
your
it,
ordinances if the
Yeah.
state could say, you should have done your homework either.
right,
Yeah,
Yeah, so
like
it's-
maybe the size, maybe the height of it should be
right, and I said, we need to,
shorter,
check
right.
with, see what the state ordinance is, in regard to, I said, we're a small town, yes,
And one other thing is, MDOT just redid this whole road up here, right?
right, and they're gonna be
Well,
continuing.
if there was a problem, they'd have moved those signs right down there. They'd have told us, get the signs
Right.
out of there. MDOT, as engineers, and the whole job was out here all summer long working, and never did anybody service a paper, or never come and say, hey, your signs are in the right way, get them out of here. Because we own that right
Well,
away.
those are temporary signs, those.
Yeah, they're not-
My point is, if they would have come and
They
asked. me to
wouldn't
take them
ask,
off.
well, why would they? They're temporary signs. They wouldn't ask you to do that. They weren't working and
If
they.
it says no sign can be in the right of way according to your ordinance, the state has certain ones similar to that too.
No, I think they had more important things to do than.
No, they come through here every
worrying
year.
about your little sign.
The state comes through here every year, it's Macomb, the St. Clair County MDOT, and all the signs that are not on their map will actually disappear. Because I know it happened here with our, Jake breaks or whatever they're called.
Oh, the Jake break signs,
Yeah.
I haven't seen one come in through town.
They had to take it, we had to take
Yeah,
it.
You guys are just talking about the flags, I'm asking, because I have signs in the front too that says geology.
So when I brought it up, I was specifically concerned about the sign on your western part of the building that overhangs not just yours, but that overhangs the public right of way in the fear of if it fell and hurt someone.
The sign that's connected to my,
Yes, and now it's not that I think it could come down, it's if in the off chance it did come down, what was our ordinance? I looked into it, saw there was no sign allowed in the public right of way, and that's what started this entire discussion.
Actually, the buildings are in the right of way.
Yeah.
His building is definitely in the right of way, and I'm pretty sure their building is. Actually, my house is in the right of way. It's 60 feet on the state highway from the center of the road.
Not all of them. Mine in Van Dyke is 53, there's
I think it's
32.
50,
Every area is different.
Yeah, they're all
Every
different.
area, every area varies, it really
Like I
is.
said,
And
we're also, like you said, we're also
Either way,
looking
we're
at
3 feet
a
off,
town from the
off the
18th.
road, so there's no getting
I know,
around it.
I know, I honestly, I don't, if they wanna take their
Yeah, I mean,
flag
if you
down,
if you wanna start, poking holes and everything and
I don't,
I
get
guess
down
it
to the
depends
nitty
on
gritty.
what you guys want too. I have no problem if we're gonna move signs or flags, we'll do it voluntarily as long as everybody is. You don't have to pass nothing.
Yeah.
But here's what you're gonna end up with. To me, the beauty of a town, you go up to Croswell, you go to Richmond, you go, each individuality of the restaurant, whether it's the dog house or the cook or the donut place, whatever, that's why I would go to a small town. If I hate the look of a sterile straight line, nobody can do nothing, I would move to Sterling Heights. But that's being, that's my opinion on the thing, which probably don't mean nothing.
I'm sure if there was a barber shop here, the barber pole would be
Yeah,
outside.
that's what you grew up
That's it.
with.
This is a horse town. This town was built in the 1800s. With a 2-track carriages and horses, like you said. There were no sidewalks. You pull up, it was boards.
And a lot of great updates.
Right, so now we're updating this, but still trying to keep that small town feel. I think it's something that we do need to look into further, check with the state, check their ordinances, and maybe have a sit down and maybe an amendment or a rewrite on that specific ordinance.
Something's gotta be done.
That's my thought.
Because right now, it doesn't.
Because right now, it's a gray area.
It's enforceable. You
It's
can't really,
enforceable, but it's.
because if you enforce that, you're
For
gonna,
everybody.
have, like you said, the attorney's gonna have to take his sign down that's been there
Correct.
for 50 years, I mean.
Correct.
Yeah, that's,
Yes.
You got a couple people that can look into that, and you wanna get a committee on that? I'm not volunteering either, buddy.
No.
But I mean, if we're gonna keep this going, let's do that, and we can be going for now. See, I agree with everything you said, I think it's a good approach, but let's not just leave it there. I mean, who's gonna look into
I
this?
still can't, I'm still wondering if there's, if signs like the banners and an attached sign, an attachment to the building.
I bet you could find the right people to ask those questions for.
It's two different things.
You wanna look into that, Barb?
I would get a couple people.
Okay, and
I don't know how.
Mr. Dunbar, since this was something that you originally brought up.
Start calling the state phone numbers, you'll find who.
Sure,
Well, no,
I'm
it's
sure we
gotta
can
be-
find
it's
it.
in our, it's probably in our ordinances about structures.
There's not, no, there isn't. What you got there, part of it. We don't have
That's
one.
it.
That's
That's the
it.
whole thing.
That's our
all
ordinance.
it says, and that's why I said it's kinda,
And I think it's an
Well-
old ordinance.
You can pull up, Google state ordinances, you can pull up stuff.
So if
doing that.
somebody,
I'd be curious what the definition of non-accessory signs versus accessory signs is.
You are great at research, Ken.
Well, I mean, that's in our code, and I looked at the definitions of that section, and I didn't see any definitions for those two terms.
Because there aren't.
Yeah, so I'm assuming we followed the state definition at the time, but those are, I mean,
no sign otherwise permitted shall project above or beyond the maximum height limitations of the use district in which located.
and non-accessory signs shall be permitted only in, that's light industrial, right? I-1? Is that what that is? Is that just
I
industrial?
don't know what that, industrial,
See, now we're getting into the gray areas in regards to this ordinance. It's been there
If
for
you do this, I got.
how long?
58.
58? So, look how much the town is in.
I'll give you one star.
Most cities have a percentage
Why am I not
of the
surprised?
square footage of the face of your building. You can only have usually I think it's 10% in most cities. So you would take the face of your building facing the road and measure it, height by width, and then it'd be 10%, so that you could have 10% of the footage that's on your front. That's most, like in the suburbs in the cities, Roseville and, you know, places like that.
Right.
And normally, if you're on a corner, some cities allow both sides, some cities only allow a certain percentage of square footage combined, so it's sort of a mishmash. I worked at, you know, a site company, so.
Good point.
You can have the square footage of your building, you can have it non-off, you can have a pylon, you can have freestanding, you guys have to decide what you want. The problem is you're not building a brand new community, you need to figure out how to accommodate everybody's needs.
Correct.
And that's gonna be the challenging thing. And I get it, we all get it, that's why we're here to solve problems.
Appreciate it, really.
You know what I mean?
Didn't have this input, we wouldn't be making any
As far as
progress.
businesses keeping the community and this community up, I think we do very well in this community. The money that we bring into this community here, the people that come to this community here, the big influx, the tax base that these two businesses bring in here. What was it, $60,000 last year per dispensary?
Something like that.
So we brought $120,000, no, $60,000, yeah, $120,000 in free tax money in that they never would have gotten from a business that side. Plus the $6,000 a year we paid for licensing fees for in there. It's another $12 on top of that, so $132,000. And now let's talk about our property tax. So between the two buildings, we're bringing in about $150,000. And I'm just saying here, we want to be able to advertise so we can keep paying these bills too. You know, we're not here denying anything, and by denying certain businesses the right, they will fail. Will we fail? Probably not. But we just want equality for everybody else. And I'd be willing to help you write the ordinance, but it would get some conflict of interest because I've done this. You have X amount of square footage, you have X amount of inches per square foot. At Elmont, you're allowed 100 square foot out there. Whatever you want to do with it out there. My column out in 53, everybody knows it, that is in the right of way of MDOT. And MDOT has tried to make it move and they can't make it move. So be careful where you go. I mean, and I'm here to help you guys.
It's a landmark, too.
It is a landmark. We are here just as much, and you're worried about your property values and your, because I gotta worry about my property values here too. And Country Smokehouse wants to build another store on the corner there on Boardman Road. But if we're gonna sit and argue over a flag or this or that, do I really wanna invest? Look at my grocery store in K-Pac, it's very nice. That place was a crappy hole in the wall when I bought it. I put a lot of money into it, it's an asset to the community. Elmont, my building burned on the ground. I built a beautiful building there. I can dress that corner up, or we can just leave it the way it is, and it's not a threat. I'm just saying, if I've got to get harassed trying to do things in your community here, do I really want to come to your community and invest more dollars in general? All my employees that work there are all local people. Local people. So we're here on your team. We're on your team, so please, don't take us the wrong way. We're not. We're on your team. I grew up in Elmont, rode the school bus, married my sweetheart. I'm high school on the school bus, still married today. We are in the same shoes you guys, just want to make sure everybody does equality. That's all we're trying to do.
That's what we're looking at.
And we're here to help you.
I agree. You know, I agree. We're not, I don't know, I haven't been to any of these meetings yet, my brother has. But he actually had a really good job offer in Missouri, so he had to leave. So he moved out there, so now I'm in the place of him. We're not, I don't know how you guys look at Joyology. We're not a big, there's about 17, 18 locations, but we're our own mom and pop store. Me and my dad run this place. We're not a big old company that's just gonna come in and do whatever we want to do and say screw you guys. So, you know, a lot of the people now in Memphis know us.
You guys not affiliated with the Joyology chain throughout the state?
We are affiliated. We're like a sub dealer though.
They
own
own 10% roughly or something like that of the business. And they're not, Joyology Corporation doesn't own us. This is one of the board members.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
No. It's just
I just know that they're out there.
There's a lot of them. There's 17 locations, but like they are either corporate owned or like maybe somebody has a 10% share in them. But for this one, obviously, it's not like that. You know, we're very close to home. Like we want to go 5 hours out. So.
All right. That's it. I'm gonna.
I appreciate that these guys came in and shared their thoughts on everything today, and I'd really like to see that smokehouse open up here. That'd be great.
Yeah.
You brought Almont quite a few times. I think the part of the thing is this is a 1 square mile community. It's really small. We've got 2 dispensaries in 1 square mile.
We had one until.
How many are in
We had one
Elmont?
until you're forced to get 2.
Yeah.
We only had one, trust
How
me.
many are in Almont?
0, because they voted it out.
Right.
Right. This
We
community
bought
voted
half
it
the
out.
town to
Yeah,
open there.
there's none in
and they
Almont,
opted
there's none in
out
Dryden,
after
there's
we
none
bought
in
them.
Romeo. You go to Romeo and you
No,
got
there's-
Frisco, but it's
Yes, there is.
Romeo's got
Quite a
3 or
few.
4 of them down there.
Do they
Romeo's
really?
big
Yeah.
time.
I knew they had
We're
dispo.
running out of-
right?
we're running out of
Romeo's big
time.
time.
Alright, can
Okay.
we
Yeah.
move
So-
on here or something?
Okay. Thanks.
Good
We gotta
discussion.
open it up. Yeah, thanks. So like I said, we're gonna we're gonna operate as you are,
Yes.
okay, until we until we sit down there, you're gonna check with the state, you're gonna find your resources also. Let's get this more clarification on it, so we can discuss it at the
Dan, are you
next
gonna
meeting, we
commit?
can do that at the next meeting, please.
I will say, regardless of what we put together as a commission, it will be up to council. This is,
Well, yeah.
we don't get to.
We can only
Yeah.
recommend.
Right,
Do
we send the recommendation
we
to
can put
council,
something
allow
forward
council to
and
vote on
and
it.
we-
Well,
And then-
we brought it up,
Yeah.
so let's resolve it before we send it on. You know,
Yeah, for
I don't
sure.
want any more work on
I just don't,
council.
I wanna temper our expectations, I don't want us to just think
Well,
this
that's good
is.
exercise. You
Yeah.
learn something?
Yeah.
And so-
Guess
so
at the
right
end
now,
of the
we're
day,
gonna-
if you guys wanna do a voluntary thing and see what the people up and down wanna do, if it's a voluntary thing, we'll go, we're good to do, no signs in the right of way. You don't even have to pass an ordinance,
That's
just ask it
that's
and
absolutely
make
up to you
everybody
guys.
else.
Right,
Yeah,
well,
so
we're
it'll
leaving
be
that
a
as
lot
a,
easier.
I'll leave that as a voluntary right now, until we determine it, until I get the exact letter of this ordinance. Okay?
Obviously,
For
we need to do a
everybody.
little more homework.
Right,
Sounds good, well, at
Dan
least
made some good
at least
points.
it's out there now and everyone
Yes.
can read
Appreciate
it.
the input, really do. Thank you so much.
thanks for coming in.
Have a good evening.
All right,
You too.
good night.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, we got the sidewalk install on Pratt Road due to the ditch due to the ditch. So you got a briefing on that for us?
Yes, I do.
This, one here,
I'll be right behind
I haven't seen
you.
it in like 6 months.
I'll be right behind you, sign this, I gotta be back there.
Sorry, I didn't bring my projector or anything today.
That's all right, I'm old school.
Have a good day. Thank you guys.
Old school is fine, thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
And like, anything you guys ever need, I mean, I'm right there, so
Okay.
just a phone call away or whatever.
We'll work on it.
We're not that type of people where, you know,
We're not,
listen to-
we're the same way, so
Yeah, we're cool with it.
try to get everybody on the same page and we'll work on that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right, this came up yesterday. I got a phone call from Mark Skiba. He's the builder for Memphis Metals. And they got a sidewalk issue. They're pouring concrete. If you go on Pratt Road, I'm talking about Bell River, Pratt. You can see these are 3 houses that they got built right now on Pratt. Okay? They got those driveways poured. They're graded all out, and it's time to do the sidewalk. Well, the issue that they're having is, you know, that ditch is pretty deep right on that section there. So let me just make these points to you, and then throw it open for your discussion or your questions that I might be able to answer. And he also talked to Bart first. He had a good conversation with him. He talked to Larry TPW head, committee chair. And also he called me on the phone too, because he knows that I'm now the council rep to planning. So the sidewalks, basically what they need to do is they need to move 1 foot to the north. Maintenance issues and erosion, as he's saying, is gonna lead to failure. If he puts those sidewalks in the way that the lines are laid out in the right of way, it's gonna be right up next to the edge of that ditch. I mean, right on it.
So you ride your bike off the sidewalk here.
Well, it's not only that, he's worried about it washing out.
Yeah.
And it's gonna cause fractures. It's gonna lead to failures in the concrete. And that'll also, as you just said, Kurt, gives you a little buffer edge. You know, I don't wanna ride my bike off into that ditch.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look
It
at,
gives you a foot.
you look at where I'm at, I mean, it's pretty much if you get more than a foot off of the sidewalk, you're starting to roll down into the ditch.
Yeah, yours is a good example of
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
So, you know, one of the things I talked to Steve about earlier, but it would have, you know, even if we move it back a foot, is something to look at, and where I've looked at incurring the cost, because I've maintained that ditch for 24 years, even though it's city property, it's a pain to cut and keep it trimmed down.
Well, especially when it's on the angle that it's at.
Well, you look at mine, it's you know, it's impossible to ride a mower on that, it's like, you know, I'm dragging a mower up and down it, but is to actually tube it and fill it in.
I like that idea.
But that's gonna incur costs to the city, you know, I don't think that the builder's gonna wanna turn around and incur that cost and.
No. We had to ask them to put the sidewalks in the first place.
Right.
Little history on it, they weren't even gonna put sidewalks in anyways. Anyway, all right, so you gotta put it, he's talking about moving them a foot north, and they're being prepped. You you know, they're prepping them now, they gotta get the subsoil done, they gotta get the, not aggregate, but sand, whatever they're doing to compact them. They just got the, you know, the driveways poured, so he's on a schedule, you know, they're ordering cement trucks to do this stuff. So, these guys are being very communicative. They're
So-
They're keeping
talking
us
about the
updated.
issues
They're
with them,
keeping
so
us
I'm just
abreast
giving you
of
an idea
everything
where
that's
they're
going on.
at. All right, so now, you know, Mark was talking to Mark, said, well, how about a 4-foot sidewalk instead of a 5? Mark immediately told him that the state requires 5-foot walks,
Not anything new.
anything new. And we don't want to compromise that. We want, you know, this is
So they
supposed to be a
wanna-
walkable town, it's one of our things, that's button up to the school and all that.
So they wanna move the sidewalk a foot is what
They
they're
want to
talking?
go north a foot, and, you know, the issue, he said, the condos don't own the property. I mean, the people, all right, so they own the land. They can give up a foot of their land and do that.
What's the
I mean,
problem
there's
with that?
Pardon me?
I don't see a problem with it.
It's just, we're gonna have to have them, grant them the ability to move the sidewalk in from their, submitted plans, correct?
Yeah, just tell them to be, you know, if that's
So
what
this
we,
board-
if that's what we
So
want to
the-
do.
So this
They're
board
moving
can
a
make a
foot.
decision to send on to city council the approval for them to relocate the sidewalk 12 inches to the north of their original line.
Is that 12 inches to center?
So that would
They just don't,
12
they gotta go,
inches
I'll get
less than the
details for you
property
from Mark.
owners.
Pardon?
Property owners,
They don't own it.
property owners.
Nobody owns it yet.
They got a
They're
share.
building it. They haven't sold them yet.
Well, not only that,
So then
it's,
it'll
it's
start
it's under condominium ordinance. You
All right.
gotta remember that, it's under condos, it's not
Right.
like a platted subdivision.
Right.
They're maintaining all that ground, they maintain the roads, that's all theirs, you own the wall. And in,
But so you're talking right now, but it is gonna be 3 houses that'll be sold.
yeah, they, you know, they're, like I say, just constructed, they're ready to,
And so the.
I don't see it
I'm
as a
tickled to see
problem.
some sidewalk over
All
there,
I'm
you know?
saying is that these homeowners, the eventual homeowners,
We'll
will
never
have.
know.
No,
That's
they-
right.
They
You're
own the
right.
condo, but they don't own the
They'll have a-
grass.
That's just the way it is, when they
This is
moved in, no one's gonna
homes.
ever,
Nope.
He's not
Oh,
talking
he's
about
not-
the condos, he's talking about the homes.
There's 3 houses.
Oh, 3 houses,
Three
okay,
houses.
okay, I get it.
So they'd have
You're
one less
stand-
foot of front lawn. They would
Yeah.
have one less
It's
foot
not
of
even,
front
it's,
lawn.
it's gonna be 1 foot to center, right? 12 to center of the sidewalk?
Well, center, it doesn't matter, it's a
closer
foot.
wherever
At
the
the center,
sidewalk is.
taking the whole sidewalk,
Just moving it 1
Moving
foot.
it 1 foot.
12 inches.
They do it almost.
One
Yeah,
foot
so their
less
front
grass.
yard would be 1 foot less.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying.
That's
Yeah,
exactly
that's it.
Yeah.
I'm just
What's wrong with
asking.
that?
All right.
I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah.
Okay, good,
I
because
really
I
don't.
told him I, you know, call him back, because I want to be prompt, and I appreciate you letting me do that, because he's been that way with us, but let me just give you a little background. Chapter 151, design and layout. Standards, 151-37B3. Memphis Code says, you know, sufficient land is unavailable within the public right-of-way, developers transfer sufficient land, that's him. Developer, you can transfer the land, that's all up to him to do, we don't do any of that stuff, paperwork. Public, from the project to the public right-of-way to permit sidewalks to be constructed. Also, section 150-118, if sufficient land is unavailable, an existing right-of-way developer shall transfer sufficient land from the project to the public right-of-way to permit sidewalks to be constructed. So it's all good. I think if we just said, yeah, Mark and Mike, Mike's the developer, Mark is the construction head. Yeah, we want 5-foot sidewalks, sorry. I don't think the 4-foot thing's gonna fly with anybody here. I mean, I told him I'd bring it up, but he will lay it out too. He said, you know, he said he would be happy to get on the phone anytime. I can call him now if I want to, but anytime you want, he's willing to come in here and talk. But basically, I'd like to be able to for him to go ahead. He said he would lay it out and actually put a line down. We want to see, you know, what he's doing. So I said, great.
Well,
Let me
so
look.
we're almost to the point where we either have no sidewalks or we have 5-foot sidewalks, which would go.
I would really like to see him pour
It
some
sounds
cement
like,
next
well, it
week.
sounds like it's either or, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, he's got, you know, they committed, and actually you see them on this print, they drew them on here. At first there wasn't any. We didn't ask them that, we gave them a variance not to have to put sidewalks in those 7 houses along Bell Road.
Right,
Because
right.
we have a sidewalk on that side, even though I supposed to have sidewalk on both sides.
right.
And they wanted the same thing here. Back when I was chairing the commission, it's like, man, that's just, we all talk about the walkable town, here's the high school at the end.
Yep.
And that's where that blacktop path picks up, you can spit at it. I said, boy, it'd be sure nice to, these houses, they got this lot, this, they got 6 that are going in here. I live right there too, by the way. So, construction's a drag, but it's good for us on this instance. So they said, yeah, they agreed to it.
They agreed to it.
We gave half off on their tap fees too. We gave them a great deal to develop this. I mean, not taken away from it. It's been good for the community. It's a lot of money. Single families, people have a crack at the American dream still in our 1 square mile town. It's a shame we lost it or anything happened to it.
Go ahead, Kurt.
Well, I was gonna say, we're not disputing the sidewalks are gonna be there. I think what we need to do is, if we can get a motion on the table, I make a motion to allow them to
Move the sidewalks
move the
1 foot.
sidewalk back from their planned line 12 inches to the north into the property. And then that would go to city council for approval so that they can go ahead and pour their sidewalk.
All right, can I get a second?
I'll second that.
John Locke, second. All in favor?
Aye.
All
Maybe we can
opposed?
get a piece of up against the schedule, Kurt.
Hey, we can turn around and do a voice call on that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We could maybe just.
Send out an email or get it back to Donna, so.
All opposed? Motion.
Aye.
All right, so we have 1 nay
So you have to
and.
do a roll call then.
You don't have to do a roll call.
No.
Yes.
I
All
thought
but
we had to
me.
do a roll call.
Well,
We're supposed to do a roll call. If you don't want to.
Kenny
then-
put
We're
it down
supposed to-
to everybody else.
Oh,
in
that
favor
one.
and-
Barb, you can call for a roll call.
I'll call for a roll call. I think it should be done properly and in the minutes.
Tom Ahern,
Aye.
Ken Dunbar, no. Barb Bever,
Yes.
John Locke,
Yes.
Ken Riley,
Yes.
John Terrace,
Yes.
Steve Weaver,
Yes.
Kurt Martin,
Yes.
Bart Dunsmore, not present.
I will call Mark in the morning.
I thought you were gonna say right now. Call him right now.
I mean,
Over.
you plant a tree, what do? They put in a sidewalk, you wanna keep your tree, give up some of your land, they go right around the tree. On a sidewalk, on more than one occasion.
Okay, next up.
Next up. Alright, unfinished business, well, it's getting kinda late.
Yeah.
We got, review 150.105 through 150.126 of the Memphis Code of Ordinances. Once again, we're gonna need to make a motion to move that to the next meeting, the March meeting.
We don't feel we have time to talk about any of this?
Well, it's 7:40, if you're all good, I'm good.
I'm
I'm
not
not
sure.
on a couple things here, no. Go ahead, you may go first, Ken.
I mean, I don't have any general points to say other than the summation I typed up. I think it adequately covered, just a general overview of the points I brought up at the last meeting. There are a few types.
This one here?
Yes, that
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Specifically concerning the setbacks of the buildings, the width of the road, and the height of the buildings. I compiled a list of 7 different municipalities and compared their setbacks and height requirements so that we could adequately look at them to see how they compared.
Yeah, if I may interject real quick, it's one of those with the setbacks as far as the width of the road.
Yeah,
And, I was on the board when we did the condominium ordinance, and I have no idea how we came up with 51 feet.
It's
I
very-
think it's a typo myself.
Yeah, it's
It's
large.
probably more like
it is quite
31
large,
feet.
and I'm not.
No, it's in the code, that figure's in the code. I would, if you allow me for a minute, I mean, I stayed up late last night getting ready to do this, I don't wanna put it off.
Yeah.
Go for
And
it.
and if you would indulge me, everything I'm gonna say here, I got typed up, and I was gonna give you all copies of it.
Yeah.
Citation, chapter, verse, check it out, see what you think. But I would very briefly, I'm just gonna read that to you. We don't need to chew on it. I'm gonna pass on when I'm done, because people wanna read while I'm talking. So I'm gonna do that real quick, and I'll use your illustrations very quickly there. I got that development up on the board, because if you got those drawings, Ken, you know, I figured it out, but it's kinda hard to orient. You know, I like to do that. All right, here it goes, maybe a page. Issue 1, setbacks to proposed buildings on the property. Now, we resolved that, right? You talked with Ken?
No,
I mean, excuse me, with
I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Mayor there?
May I join you?
No, I want to get through here first, then you can
It
respond.
was resolved.
I got it, it's in the minutes. It's in your packet you sent, Ken.
After reviewing those, I did not agree with the assessment we came to, and I typed that up.
All right, well, let's take a second. Let me, look, I got everything handy here. I could be mistaken, but that's what I read with the packet that you sent. And if I am to be corrected, I would endeavor to be so.
Our
In the
discussion,
minutes.
during our discussion of the property setbacks, I called attention to the properties along the east end of the property, see below. Incorrectly assuming the bold line was the property line, Mayor Martyr, accidentally typoed Mayor Mart, sorry, pointed out the easements and informed me the setbacks would be closer to 40 feet, so we moved on. In the following paragraph, if we take a look at the north and west sides of the property.
Wait a minute, let's just start from the beginning. My fellow commissioners, because that's the way I went through this, addressing it chronologically as you presented it.
Yes.
All right, let's just start right there. And again, I'm gonna, you know, if everybody's getting tired, I'll try to speed dial it. But I want to at least,
Oh, no, you're good.
I want to at least read it and give it to you, because I mean, I spent a lot of time on this, and I'm not, we
No,
got too much on our
go.
plate to be. The other part of this we had for just reviewing was the 4 pages I wrote out for new language and updating our master plan. That's been postponed once or twice. You know, we gotta move this, you know, we got stuff to do. You know, and that's just a small part, we don't have to read them all. But you guys gotta look at it, up or down, make a correction.
Right.
Stuff is piling up. All right, my fellow commissioners, I've not reviewed the material any further, but requested, type in findings, setbacks to the proposed building and property, height proposed buildings, width proposed road, and I broke all those down. Now, during our discussion, property setback, call attention to the east end of the property. I had a hard time pinning this down. Again, pool, north, south, east, west. Building 1. All right. So the east end of the property. See below, incorrectly assuming the bold line was the property line. Mayor Mark pointed out the easement and the form of setback would be closer to 40 feet, so we moved on. So you're saying you're not satisfied with that?
As I looked at the northern part and western part of the property line is distinguished by the bold line.
Northern, western, this is the perimeter of the building.
May I join you? I'm so sorry.
Come on up.
When talking about the setbacks,
Just go ahead.
was not specifically referring, sorry, I don't want to get in this way. Was not specifically referring to this building, but more the setbacks of the property as a whole, and this one is marked.
Setback from where, Ken?
So assuming that the bold line is the property line.
This is all owned by the condo.
Right. And you need to be so far away from the property line.
Building. I'm not sure if you're technically saying that's not a property. Well, yes, okay, these lots are.
Yes. And this is residential. And this is set 20 feet from the back of this.
Well, these are just their lots. Again, it's not like a platted subdivision. They don't own the property. The condo owns all that property.
I don't think that makes
All right,
our
well,
setbacks irrelevant.
Well, if they don't technically own the property, you have lot lines. They're not necessarily like in a platted subdivision. You have surrogate lot lines for purposes of laying out plans like this.
Right, and this is the rear end. Well, this
Of
is,
these single dwellings, standalone condominiums,
Right.
you know, they're single houses along Bell River. Yes, those are their lots, right there.
and our setback requires 30 30 feet, I don't have it in front of me, rear property. This is 20.
30.
30, thank you. And here, it is also 20.
Okay,
Here it is also 20.
I understand your point, and I'm gonna address it now.
Okay.
But I just wanted, I thought you were saying that first one, but this picture you were signing off on, so I just wanted to disregard it and move on. All right, so, get back to my script.
So Steve, while you're looking for that, all those are site condos, those new homes? Are
The
they,
ones that have been built,
are they private lots or are they site condos?
These I believe are private lots.
this is phase one, I'm not gonna speak to that, I don't know. I'm gonna find out.
Yeah, I thought they were residential lots.
They could be.
Okay.
Phase two is the duplexes, the fourplex.
Yeah.
Stage one was what we got
Okay,
going there.
all right.
But I don't know, John, tell you the truth.
Yeah, okay.
So we need issue two. Okay, issue two, the north and west sides of property, setbacks do not meet our required rear setbacks of 30 feet, which you were just pointing out. As shown in 150.059 RM multiple in the Memphis City Code, so I take it you got that from.
Yes.
However, the setback we address here is in the condo ordinance. This is a condo. The condo ordinance defines setback as minimum horizontal distance between the rear surrogate lot line and the rear yard line. Again, you guys read this over. I'm not going to sit here. You don't want to spend as much time as I did last time on this. We are dealing with surrogate lot lines here, not platted lines and counter and such. Michigan Pile Laws, Condominium Act, 5997. That's what all this stuff is under. Department of Licensing, Regulatory Affairs, Bureau of Construction Code, Manufactured Housing, Part 9 Community Construction, Michigan Administrative Code, R 125, 1944, does address setbacks. The Condominium Act, and say, think about it. Ain't gonna find it in there. So, we go to what long thing I just spit out there, R 125.1944, two sections in there. Homes, under 1, homes, permanent dwellings, facilities, other structures shall not be located closer than 10 feet from the property boundary line of the community or home condominium. Shall not be required by local ordinance unless approved by the commission to be more than 10 feet. Try to make it 20 feet. They did it on their own, it's easier to maintain. The second part of that, 125/1944, speaks to internal roads, just for edification here, because they're building roads in here, and all this other stuff we've been dealing with here. 2 says that rules in this section state they don't apply to internal roads dedicated to internal use. Phase 2 again, Memphis Metal project. So the setbacks of the Memphis Metal working print are more than 20 feet. I think you're fine. Issue 3 is the height issue, which has that one. Okay. All right. Talked to Mel, building inspector, had a phone conversation with him yesterday regarding 25-foot height in our code. You know, again, it's the picture we're looking at, and Ken got that 25-foot height out of the code. It's there. Okay, I talked to Mel. Mel's a backup inspector for Bruce Township, and you know, he works there and fills in a lot. He's, as you know, he's been doing this 30 years as an inspector and contractor. It's interesting. He said that, you know, 25-foot elevations are a lot more common in older communities. First building ranch houses, you know, they're low profile. And discussions I had with Larry too at a different time, that extra elevation is really curb appeal. You know, it makes them look a little better, and if you look, just a quick example, here's the extra elevation showing up. So if you're going down the road, you don't see that long flat line. That middle part is up to this higher elevation that you're seeing. That little piece of the drawing representing, that. So that's what it's looking like, and that's the profile of these, end views and front, back. So that's the reason they're designing for that. They don't want 5 feet more, just easier to sell them, looks better, I think it's better look in the neighborhood and all that. So this is so what do you think, Ken? Not Ken, excuse me, Mel. Looking at you. He said he'd recommend amending the condo ordinance law. We got an ordinance, we got a condo ordinance. I mean, unless you guys want to have 25 feet. But he said he would, even doing that, he would advise just don't touch the rest of the rest of the town or subdivisions or whatever, in the established neighborhoods. Leave it, which makes sense to me. You don't want somebody putting up, all kinds of different configurations. You probably want to cross that bridge when you get to it, but he's just talking about amend the condo ordinance. We wrote that thing 15 years ago, whatever, I don't know, Kurt, you said a long time ago. So it was an anticipation of sometime or another we're gonna have an opportunity. Who knows when, where, economy was not too good that far back, in 2008 or whatever, whenever that fell. But we're there now.
Yeah, and if you go back to when we did the condominium ordinance, the building did not go up like you're going now. I mean, you look at how many
Right.
houses they look like they're
Very
3
little.
stories and they're only 2, because you have these vaulted ceilings and atriums and all this stuff going. And again, it does add to curb appeal. I mean, I'm not opposed at all to modify the ordinance for there. I don't, to me, I'm in violation.
Well, no, your grandfather did too, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's contained within that property, I don't see a problem with it either.
And
I
it's
like
not
the
like,
containment aspect, John. That was Mel.
Yeah.
A good point. he
Right.
made.
it's not like a community where somebody's on the hill and you've got the lake down there and you're building 5 foot higher, now I can't see the lake,
Right.
Right.
so we're gonna block somebody's view of the high school.
Yeah,
All right, let me do issue 4 real quick. And again, I got all that, whatever that's there. I got a copy for you guys. You can look at it. This is the roads. We're talking about the road issues here now, where we got to in,
And Steve, if I may.
Yes,
When
please.
you made the comment about the 51 feet, and I said typo, it might have been when we originally
I'll
did
tell
it,
you.
and it might have been just copied throughout,
It could
instead
be.
of 31 feet, because 51 feet seems just
It's
like
pretty
way
low.
out of line.
But I found
Yeah.
Residential multiples 56, undedicated residential multiples 51.
There's a
I don't know
chart.
what I don't know what the typo could have been,
Okay,
but
okay, so I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
it's there, man.
Yeah.
I found it.
my
they mainly do that for runoff, for water runoff and all that.
and
But for Memphis, it's 51 feet as opposed to all these other communities listed. They're a lot smaller.
I think there's been a general confusion about my point of that packet. It was not that I think the road should be 51 feet. It was not that I think the road.
This is what we wrote.
This is right. I don't think the road should be, or I don't necessarily think the house should be 30 feet. This is our code, and
Yeah.
we need
I'm
to.
on page. I'm bored with that.
We need to either look at it and decide as a community, hey, residential multiple, it's fine to be 30, or roads can be 30. I just felt like we didn't have a discussion about any of this.
Exactly.
And I'm
I
so excited
appreciate
to
it.
read.
Don't think like I'm trying to refute your
No,
points.
I
I'm
love-
doing just what you're asking.
Exactly. I would love some refutement of like, hey, no, you didn't think about this. I just want to know that we thought about it as a commission and went, you know what, this is what is actually best for our
I
community.
would like to follow the code as it's written. I'm an
Yeah.
equal opportunity applicant applying the code.
Yeah, and I really appreciate the work you've done on this. I look
No
forward
sweat.
to reading that.
All right, so the road. Let me give you that, and then I'm done.
Yeah.
Per Bart, it's from our DPW head, who's been here 30 years, major road right-of-ways in our town, they're 66 feet. It's pretty standard. 22, they consist either of 22 feet of asphalt or 24 feet if they include the curb and gutter. That's our town. Local road-of-ways, local road right-of-ways consist of 18 feet of asphalt and 20 feet of curb and gutter. He's building them the specs. So then I'm just showing you that, saying why would we expect This guy coming off of Bell River to build a superhighway going in there. So, street section 150, 117 refers to widths set forth in section 150, 113B2, which says condos follow requirements of chapter 151 as amended. Improvements, section 150, 155, general requirements. The 51-foot dimension is cited from section 150, 155 subdivision heading. It's two boxes. One's a subdivision, then there's the other one. Multiple residential undedicated streets. We're under the condo ordinance here, not the subdivision heading. The minimum general requirements under 150, 155, marginal access streets, is 24 width of pavement, face of curb to face of curb. This is the dimension Bart cites exactly for a right-of-way of 66 feet, 22 feet asphalt, curb gutter, 24. Section 151E calls for 24 foot of pavement. That's it. So that's the research I did on it. I got copies, I'll pass them around. And other than that, I would like, you've got a copy of those 4 pages I wrote for whatever the titles were.
Well, the road wide, that makes, well, you just finished up, makes sense. The only thing I'm still confused on is the 20-foot, the 20-foot from the back.
The lot line,
Yeah.
the setbacks.
Because these are 20 feet and it says 30, so.
Well, yeah, but when you look up the Michigan codes, state codes, they only gotta be 10 feet off.
So we gotta change,
No, we don't change anything. They put in 20 feet out. They made it further away than instead of a bare
Yeah,
minimum.
they don't, yeah.
No, but
they're
what
beyond- Yeah, they're,
but why does ours say 30 feet then?
Because that's what they've always said, but that's not applying to a condo ordinance, so.
Okay,
we
so
were-
it's irrelevant.
Well, not totally, it's confusing, but it's,
I mean, it would be if I built a new house, I'd have to be 30 feet, which those houses are.
John, when I'm looking into this, we wrote a condo ordinance, whatever, like I said, a few years back.
Years ago.
I'm looking at how this thing is being governed by the condo ordinance. Not that you don't disregard all the other stuff, but we got a condo ordinance.
We gotta follow.
And so I had to figure out what it was saying. That's not stated in it explicitly. But by searching it out finally through, the Act 59, the state act, so that they could put together the scheme so whoever could get rich by not making you think you don't own any property, then you pay $300 a month for long to keep it up. Whatever, I'm ranting now.
you're fine.
So that's the long and short, but like I say, John, I got those things cited in there.
Yeah, I see it.
Not that you gotta go do it all, but check my homework, I make lots of mistakes.
I'm passing these down.
No, it's just, can you school me one more? I'll give you one.
Hey Steve, when you contact this guy again, can you find out
We'll talk to you tomorrow.
where the guy that drew these prints up, what guidelines he used, like what township ordinance, you know what I mean? All the different things we're coming up with our condo thing. He obviously, it's not his first drawing, so he probably has a set reference that he's used for his setbacks and all his other dimensions. And if we could reference whatever township, city, whatever that is, that might help us clear out ours, if we're gonna change anything, like you got your 20 feet, 30 feet, 50 feet, 30 feet. Obviously, he used something, he didn't just pull those numbers out of his ass to do that, so.
No, the engineer's been doing this, he's been doing it for 30 years too.
Find out what reference he used.
I can tell
he's
you.
using.
Like a lot of these prints, this is not construction prints.
Right, I
They're
understand.
reference prints, and so it says, a lot of the stuff you see on there, details gonna go per typical. Which means, they're looking at state law. They're not gonna design anything that's gonna, a state inspector's gonna whack them on. So it's broad, but as, then they bring it to us, and we're looking at it as a planning commission, and we're talking to their engineer. We had a meeting with the engineers this week, I'll talk about for a second at the end of the meeting. So that's how these plans evolve. That's why we don't get a final plan where we all get stamped until a lot of these issues are worked out. So I can't get too excited sometimes about what we see in the drawings or where things are laid out.
These are conceptual.
We're gonna fix all that.
Yeah.
These are conceptual stuff.
Who had the meeting?
Yeah, exactly, conceptual.
Who had the meeting this week?
The engineer from the city a meeting with the engineer from Memphis Meadows, with the head of the DPW. I'm on the DPW committee, and the DPW head, Bart.
And this was a DPW meeting?
No, it was a meeting just with the, we're there. I
Right.
don't know what it was, I asked Donna, I don't know, I don't pay attention to that. It said
Are we unable to sit in on those meetings?
Absolutely not.
It was
can
a
sit in the
pre-construction meeting, right?
Of course you can, huh?
Pre-construction meeting?
I don't remember the title of it, Eric.
It's pre-something, because I was invited to it too, but I couldn't make it.
Oh, okay.
It's an open meeting.
I just, nobody told me.
You know what,
I'd love to sit in
put a
that.
bug in Donna's ear on anything you wanna be invited to, you know, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
All right. Got through that for that. All right, the master plan, we gotta get back on track with this.
Here, did you all get that in the packet, 4 pages?
Yeah, with the rewrite of
Existing
17,
land use,
19.
Zoning, overview of land
Yep.
use,
Yep.
Yep.
existing zoning, regional land use study, okay. So, check my work, spelling, additions, subtractions. That gives us 4 more pages to get done here. It's been hanging out there too long, we need to
It's
get
been
that
hanging out there
wrapped up.
since November, since the last time, because we tabled it a
Well,
couple
about
times in
June,
regards
we
to
get that done, we've been on it, you know, a long
a
time.
while, so.
Which is good, we've had a lot of success with it too. It hadn't been done for a long time. We haven't got the maps yet, but I think that'll be the fun part, 'cause we're gonna have it all figured out. Then it'll be like
Let's hope.
finger painting, we just put the colors in the right places.
Yeah, because we already gotta do the rezone for the condos, 'cause that's not in there yet. Get the map done.
Yeah, so maybe one more time to come back for this next month.
Yeah, review
We'll
this,
rewrite.
so we can't, if you see anything in there.
We haven't lost any skin in the game there, but at
This
least
gives you an
let's
opportunity to read
finish
the
it up.
rewrite. If you have comments or, mark it on the back of the sheet. And then, we'll review this, item by line.
Next week, or next meeting?
Next meeting, yeah, I wanna make it a point that this is new business. So, does anybody wanna make a motion to table this until March?
We're just reviewing the
We're just
master
gonna
plan,
review.
so. I
Let
don't
it be, okay.
know.
Yeah, because it's an ongoing
It's an ongoing thing.
line item.
Yeah, so
Line
let
item.
everybody, take a couple moments out before the next meeting, to review this.
The remaster plan, I would say no action, so.
Yeah, no action.
That works.
That works. All right, anything else? Any other comments, any concerns,
Nope.
anything from the commissioners?
Yeah, go around the table always.
Go around the
Seriously.
table.
Comments from commissioners, yes.
All right, we'll start down with Mr. Locke. You have anything to add?
Right here.
Oh, there. You want, I get tired of you wanna know something? I've been.
It's all right, I'm good. Yeah, we're both
I have a
jobs.
lot of stuff going on.
No, I'm with you, we're good, yeah, I'm looking forward to next meeting so we can get this part done. So
Yeah.
we got some homework, but I'm good.
Just in the future, when we get our minutes, it should say draft on it.
It is a draft though, right? Until
No, this is what you're submitting.
we approve it.
Well, we can amend it or,
Right, so it's, I figured it was a draft until we approve it. I didn't want any, if we, in the case we amend a draft, I didn't want someone reviewing a copy that was not
Okay.
approved. The ones submitted to City Hall say approve above them and there's no draft watermark.
All right, and you're signing that and giving
And
that
I'm
over?
signing this.
Okay.
Did you type this?
Okay. Mayor Martyr, do you have anything to
I
add?
have nothing else.
He's like,
You
I'm
sure?
ready.
Wait, one thing, Steve,
Okay.
thanks for the time you're putting into it. Kenny,
Ordinances.
Ken?
Mr. Dunbar?
you guys, thanks for the time everybody's putting in on all this stuff, okay?
Yeah.
I know that it eats up a lot of hours of the nights and days and.
Did we,
I
I'm so
appreciate
sorry,
that.
are we still in the comments portion?
Sure.
Comments from commissioners, yes.
My only comment would be, I voted no earlier today on the sidewalks, and it was once again a principled stand. It had nothing to do with the sidewalks themselves, I am just generally displeased it got added to the agenda with an action being required of sending a recommendation to council. In the instance of like, we want to make a motion, I would like time to be able to review anything that we think is going to be relevant. And I understand you did the legwork on that and you distilled it to us, but I just do think there's something to be said about being able to read into it ourselves. And in the future, I would like if we could adhere to not adding things to the agenda in the sole instance when we expect something to be done on the matter. And
I'm not quite following you. I mean, sometimes things need attention. Am I gonna make it, if I'm gonna wait a month? He's got concrete to pour.
Yeah, sometimes you can't.
Today,
We
sometimes
add
there's
things to the agenda all the
emergencies.
time, Ken, for all kinds of reasons.
It's costing him money. And even the aspect of that he was gonna go to 4-foot sidewalks and it's gotta be 5-foot, that costs him money, because that extra cement over that long stretch, that's a lot of extra labor and material.
It is.
I mean, we have to be conscious of businesses, but we can't be solely making our decisions based on what is good for them.
Understood.
I make my decisions based on what's good for the citizens that I serve. No other constituency comes before that to me.
We don't wanna get a
Period.
reputation
So I
of
just,
being
just so
very
that we're
difficult
clear
to
on
deal
that.
with either.
Right.
If they don't pass that filter, I'm not supporting it.
I'm sorry that was poorly worded. I'm not implying that you do, but I would
I
like.
think so. I just wanted to clarify my own particular stand if anybody wants to know my political philosophy for serving on this board.
Yeah, I just would like to see a consistency in the way we conduct business, and I think while things need to be handled, and sure, maybe they need to be handled quickly, we could, if they were that pressing, we could call a special meeting after people have had time to review them, or we can postpone it a month. I don't think it's a big deal to not be able to do any sort of prep on something and then have to make a decision on it.
I understand your point.
And that's all it is I just want to be able to do some work.
Do a little bit of research.
Yeah.
Before gathering an opinion.
Yeah, and
It's understandable.
and based on what you said today, I would have no problem with them just moving it.
Well, he did the legwork for us, so today was
Right.
nice, because
But I would just like to read it myself, and that's all that.
Actually, those two sheets I gave you there, that top part is at every point that I went over there.
Awesome.
All right, Mr. Riley.
No. Oh, wait a minute, you passed me. Which way are you going, this way?
No.
Well, he's looking over there, so I was like, I'm trying to go this way, and it kind of like jumped that way,
One
so.
way or another, he's gonna pay.
Well, I looked at him and said lock,
I'm old tonight.
so I'll get to everybody. So Mr. Riley has nothing. All right, Mr. Weaver.
Yeah, I just wanted to recap. We had a meeting with 2 engineers. It was fascinating. I learned a lot. Our architect or our engineer had been doing this for the city for a long time, so they both roll out the prints. These are both old school guys. Lamented that nobody these days goes out in the field for 2 years and does some actual apprentice work, so they get crazy stuff on their prints all the time. He's got his red line and green line, and he's talking to our guy, well, you know, can I fill this back up by 2.5 feet or 4? Because I gotta move a bunch more dirt. We're all catch base. So these guys, it's like a pre-meeting. They're figuring out a lot of problems like we're dealing with here today that we don't want to spin our wheels on. That's the idea of these. You got the, you know, this guy's in daily touch practically with Bart. He's the guy that knows what's going on. Larry, as you all know, is always very involved and insightful on this stuff. And since I'm on the DPW committee now, that's why I was there, to start schooling me a little bit. So these guys set out, and both of them said at the end, it was a very productive meeting. And that, you know, Mark was here. Mark Skiba, again, is the contractor, the builder, and Mike DeMille is the developer. Those are the 2 guys that we've seen at all our meetings over the last few years. These guys have been right up front with me. They've been very open, honest. I think they're real deal people. Obviously, before I knew from Adam, I didn't like the fact that I wasn't getting any sidewalks down Pratt with such an opportunity there. They accommodated us, you know, so I got nothing bad to say about these folks. And that's why I appreciate him. And, you know, he called me last. He talked to Bart first, then to Larry, then he called me. But the meeting went very well, and I was pleased with it. And I think, you know, keep this thing moving. Let's get it done, because, you know, it's always, we've got 6 things coming up behind this. Always got more stuff coming up. That's why I hate putting off anything. I mean, I don't wanna put off tomorrow what I can put off the next day, as much as anybody, but
Thank you.
moving along.
Okay,
Ms. Barber,
I think I've said enough.
are you sure?
I'm positive.
Everything always has, so.
Okay. All right, can we get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
don't need that.
Say my part.
Got that?
What about me?
Oh, okay, I am sorry, Mr. Torres.
Thanks. I have 2 comments.
Okay.
I appreciate, Steve, all your work, that's great. You always come
Welcome.
here,
Happy to
and
do
you've done
it.
a lot of hard work. It saves us all a lot of time. It was great that these business owners came in tonight.
Agreed.
I know in this community, there's a lot of mixed feelings about the type of business that it is, but you know what? That ship sailed. We let them in our town.
Right.
They're here doing business, and we've got to be really careful how we handle these people. You know, it came up a few times. He felt he's being harassed. And we're not here to harass anybody. We got to make sure that we stay on target with what we're looking at, and make sure that they know they're not being picked on directly, because they were the only guys here. Nobody was here from a movable feast or from the tavern to talk about
I don't
the
know if they
same
were actually
topic.
given an invite, just to be fair to them.
What's that?
I don't know if they were actually given an invite.
No, nobody was given an invite.
I thought about
So-
it, but I
yeah.
figured, let's just have a discussion first, I didn't want any more.
So we're on the right path. I like that we talked through it and we tabled it for now and let everybody make their decision what they're gonna do if they wanna voluntarily remove their flags and stuff, but,
Right. Is,
we don't wanna come across, I guess part of my point is, we don't wanna start coming across as difficult to deal with in the city of Memphis, cause nobody's gonna wanna come here and deal with us
Right.
for new development or any progress,
but on
so-
the other hand, we need to address issues that come up too.
You're absolutely right, Barb, and we do.
Amen.
We just gotta make sure that we're not making somebody feel like they're being picked on individually.
We need to be on the same page.
Right.
With everybody for the same
Oh,
reason.
absolutely.
We gotta do our
And if
homework.
we're gonna do one, we're gonna do all.
Do we have did you guys hire a code enforcer?
Yes?
Yeah.
Well, what is the code enforcer saying about this ordinance?
I had a note that we should actually maybe invite him in and ask him how that program's going, and that could be part of the discussion. He's been here a couple of months.
Well, I'm just saying, isn't he the person who should be deciding?
I would absolutely ask him his opinion.
Yeah.
Does
Hey,
he,
Mr.
does he
Chairman?
come
I
in
believe
once
so.
a week or
I
once a
think
month,
so.
or what does he do?
I don't know who it is.
Call Donna, she'll fill you in.
Okay, then I'll stop by the office tomorrow morning and get his name and then talk with him about it.
Isn't he the person that should be?
He's a good guy. He's doing a good
reading
job.
this?
Yes.
Pardon? Yeah,
Isn't
absolutely.
he the person that
That's why
should
we
be
got a code
helping
enforcement
us
officer now.
change it, the ordinance?
I'll
or
talk with
not?
him too about attending a meeting, or attending the next meeting, so at least we can, as
I'd
planning
love to
commission.
hear
we
how
can-
it's been going.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Is he
I
responsible to
agree.
have all that cement removed from the funeral, across from the funeral?
It's moved.
Ask.
The blocks,
Yeah,
they're gone.
I asked you,
Oh,
I
yeah,
said,
I'm sorry.
was he
I'm sorry.
responsible?
I didn't understand the question.
Yes,
I know
he's the
they're
one,
all-
he's the one that notified the property owner, and the property owner
Okay.
obliged.
Okay,
So
that's-
my last
I
comment
was-
that I wanted to add is to thank this gentleman for coming in from another
Thank you. I remember
area
him from.
and enlightening us. I
Well,
mean, that
this
was
is-
really
And
important
suffering
information.
through another 2-hour
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah.
This is affecting
No, I thank you.
all of us.
Yeah.
This is affecting all of us.
Yes.
Thank
You
you.
had the chance.
Yeah.
Once you adjourned, I just had a couple questions for the planning commission, how you do things and how we're doing things, if you don't mind.
Absolutely, because I'd like to
Again.
meet up with you also.
Motion adjourned.
All right, I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
All
Can I get some
opposed?
signatures? Yes. Get me right here, if
Okay.
you don't mind, before you leave. This one is for Macomb.
I'll take them, I'll come.
This one's
I'll take him a call.
I need to St. Clair.
St. Clair's coming
Here's
up.
the code.